It's like a mystery, going through all this history, trying to deal with life while moving through this music industry. It's like the energy takes control of us physically. Mind over matter, but the matter seems to be mentally. But yet we still be chasing rainbows visibly, looking for the gold at the end of the road endlessly. It's like a jungle sometimes, it makes me wonder how we make it from the bottom but still be going under. Had to call my homeboy Tweed to get some game, trying to figure out the ways of the world and how we change. It's like we going through a phase in the maze, when they take us out the cell but still keep us in cages. We've been dealing with the same shit for ages, same lies told from these history book pages. Different names but the same faces, so in turn the same rainbows we keep chasing. Yeah.
Hey, welcome everyone to the G-Lew Show After Hours Live. Sorry we had a late start. I had some technical difficulties over here, so I'm so sorry. I know Sylvia's waiting in the green room. Give me 1 second. I'm so sorry about that. And everyone tuned in. Welcome to the G-Lew Show. Tonight we have a very, very special guest by the name of Sylvia Fuentes from Project Coffee Cup Live. And I'm so anxious to talk to her because I want to know so much about the Project Coffee Cup Live. I mean, the Project Coffee Cup and all the great things that they do within the community. So we're going to talk about that tonight. But before we do that, let me say this. This is from their website. This is the when you go to their website, they're going to tell you what they're about. And I want to read this because this is very touching and it touched me. And I think this very sums up what they have going on and what you're going to get tonight, what we're going to talk about. So Project Coffee Cup is a nonprofit organization with a mission to bring hope and resources to our homelessness neighbors. We do this in Los Angeles, one coffee cup at a time. The cup of coffee is our way to connect with people like humans and not less than because of their circumstances. We are here to empower the homeless toward lifelong personal growth and to create an item and a sincere belief in themselves through love, compassion, and straightforward conversations. Our strength is the love we give. Our staff, full of personnel, come with backstories and have experienced some of the sort of hardships, but didn't give up. We encourage those dealing with depression or struggling with hardships to seek help. We try our best to provide information about resources available to get help to those in need back on their feet. Against all odds, there is hope. Beyond the homeless, we also provide a platform for the students, families, and companies to get involved. Okay, so with that being said, hold on 1 second. Let me do this. Sorry, people. Okay, here we go. There I go. Okay, now with that being said, let me bring in our very special guest because she is here, Miss Sylvia Fuentes.
Hi.
Hello. Good evening.
How are you, Mr. G-Lew? Or are you Mr. Show?
Hey. Thank you for joining us tonight. How are you?
I'm well. I'm a little hoarse. I have some allergies, so I sound a little Marge Simpson, but bear with me. I'm okay.
It's all good. Thank you for joining us again. It's an honor to have you here. I follow what you do, and I love it. You know what I mean? So I love to have shows like this where we can showcase this and people really doing things in the community and making a difference. So again, an honor to have you here. Thank you again.
Thank you for having me. I'm honored to be here, so thank you.
Yes. Before we get started, I could tell them all about you, but since you are here, can you give a brief introduction of who you are and what you represent and everything?
Yeah. So my name's Sylvia, and I'm part of Project Coffee Cup. I'm the Santa Ana chapter. So Project Coffee Cup, what you read was something the founder, Jacob Baruch, wrote, and it's his vision. That's
Okay.
who I met, became friends with, and I decided to take his vision and just put it into work in my own community, of Santa Ana. And so we're like the Santa Ana chapter. And like what you were reading, our goal is just to remind people about life again, that they are worthy of a better quality of life, you know. And so we just start, we want the community involved, because it's like that old proverb, it takes a village to raise a child. And you know, they're not children, they're adults, but it does take a village to take care of a person, you know. And we
Right.
need the community together. So it's building community from the streets up, you know.
Right, right. So to be clear, so it started in LA and then you have a chapter in Santa Ana.
Correct.
When did it
Correct.
officially Right, okay, so that's what's up. When did it officially start?
Oh gosh, I believe Jacob started it, and he's been doing it. I'm going to say about 10 years. I've been doing it. It's going to be for in Santa Ana. We still go to L.A. We do L.A., Riverside, Santa Ana, and there's an encampment we take care of in Cerritos as well. So we're all over.
Right, that's beautiful. So I like how he said it starts with a cup of coffee, because even when people see Project Coffee Cup, they're gonna say, "What is, what's behind it and everything?" And that's a great definition of it, and because it starts with a cup of coffee. So do you guys really go out, start with the coffee and giving out coffee, or how does that work?
Yeah, yeah, we do. Well, that's how it was in the beginning, at least, because we didn't have much, you know. And honestly, most people out on the streets, when they're talked to, it's something harsh. It's, you know, get out of here or move. So
Right.
when you break the ice with, hey, you want a cup of coffee? You know, it's so that's where it started. And then it's grown. I mean, it's grown. We bring more than coffee now. We're able to bring all kinds of resources. We set up every Wednesday in Santa Ana, and we have more than coffee. We have a hot meal, blankets, hygiene products, clothes. We are able to connect people with good resources within the community. So it's grown from coffee, but it did all start with a cup of coffee.
Yeah, that's dope. I like that. And tell us about you starting your chapter in Santa Ana, and how um well, I don't even want to say homelessness, but just the situation out there, because in LA we know how it is. It's
Right.
wow. It's, you know what I mean? How is it in Santa Ana?
Well, I'm glad you're asking, because it's a totally different world out in Santa Ana.
Right.
So LA, I want to say, even though you know, it's hard in LA still, and it's hard to live on the streets no matter where you're at, right? But in Santa Ana, you can't have any tents, you can't camp out. If you get caught sleeping on the streets, it's a ticket. You got to show up in court. If you don't show up, it's a warrant. You know, they
Wow.
take everything from you. They do sweeps, which is when they come out to, you know, clean the city, which I'm not against having a clean city, but they throw everything away from them. They take everything. So it's a different world, you know. Most of the time, um, you know, where we if we see the same people, we're kind of handing out the same things, because it's always being taken away from them. They can't sleep just anywhere. They can't have tents. They can't camp out. You know, so it's a lot of moving around.
Wow. So you meaning to tell me that they can literally get a ticket and have to show up to court, and if not, they get a
Yeah.
warrant, even though they're homeless and probably
Yeah.
can't come to court, can't be
Yes.
presentable for court?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. And it used to upset me. Well, it still upsets me. Don't get me wrong, because it's easy. It's hard to come up once it's turned into a warrant. You know. So if I get a ticket for getting caught for sleeping on the street, or having a shopping cart, or flicking a cigarette, okay, but they'll give me a ticket, so I have to show up in court. If I don't, it turns into a warrant. And so boom, next time a cop interacts with me, guess what? I have a warrant, you know. But the good thing about working within our community with Project Coffee Cup is in our supporting of others, and helping them going to court, we were able to become partners now with Homeless Court of Santa Ana. So if someone does get a ticket, let's just say they got a sleeping ticket or something, they can come and volunteer with us, and it goes to their case to dismiss their charges.
Okay.
So we're part of the solution now, you know, because that's one thing that did irritate, was how quickly we can bring people down, you know, how quickly we can, you know, once someone gets a warrant, it's
Yeah.
so hard to get back up from that, you
Right.
know. So now Project Coffee Cup is part of the solution on that. We can go with them, we can advocate for them, we can stand with them with the court. We're able to provide resources, help them, guide them to resources, and just be there, a support system for them during that.
Right. That's great. And that's a good thing that the city helped let you guys be a part of that. But on the flip side of that, like, what are the solutions though? And where, like, because even a city like Santa Ana, it's like, of course they want to keep the city. They don't want it looking how, like Skid Row and all this. We get it, but I mean, what are the solutions though? Because that's the problem in LA. Okay, we don't want it looking like that, but it's not going anywhere and it's getting worse. You know what I mean?
But
So what are the solutions?
if I had that answer, gosh, you know what? I don't know. I feel like there's so many different answers to that question. There is not just one solution. I know that we are a housing first state, and Santa Ana is a housing first city, which means that they try to, well, housing first as in they try to get them into housing first, which is very
Right.
difficult. Um, but sometimes not even housing is the answer for some people.
Right. It's
So
deeper than that.
it's
Right.
deeper than that. And the truth is, there is no one answer. Like how I was saying, it takes a village. Like, I'm sorry I say like a lot. I'm very nervous. So, but
You're good. You're doing great. Don't worry.
yeah,
You're good.
it takes each person is so unique and individual. We don't know. I mean, some people do need the mental help. Some people do need um, medical needs, elderly, seniors, trauma, hurt, abandonment. There's just so many stories there that there's no one answer. You know, um, we can build shelters, but to get some people to go to shelters, or what about the people that work those shelters? A lot of them are court ordered, community service, and their heart's not really in that.
Right.
So it's it's going to sound cheesy, but the answer is just loving ourselves, loving our community, ourselves, going out there, interacting, connecting. What do you need on a human to human basis? That's the beauty of Project Coffee Cup, in which I was so attracted to Jacob's vision, was that it's love without prejudice, that we just see each other. One thing that we do is we don't talk about religion or politics or
Right.
gender or any of that. It at that moment in time, none of that matters. What we want to do is just be able to connect and say, hey, someone cares, you
Right.
know, someone cares. So we just want to be here for you. And one thing that we've noticed is people will listen when you talk about resources, when you bring, hey, there's this shelter, there's this rehab. They'll listen to you more when they know that you are consistent and invested in their life, when
Right.
they've seen you cry with them, when they've seen you laugh with them, when they can trust you. They're going to listen to those resources a whole lot. They're going to look at them different than just someone coming off the street and being like, hey, you should go into shelter. It's like, who are you? What do you
Right.
know?
Right. How do you and I'll take a couple questions, but how do you not recruit, because I'm sure people have to want to do it, like you said, but how do you get people, the right people involved, like you said, with what you do, the people that help the people? Because like you said, with some of these, those are some of the issues that maybe the heart isn't in it because they're court appointed or
Right.
whatnot. How do you reach out to people to help you do what you need to do properly?
Well, I got very lucky with Santa Ana because I got blessed with the greatest people. There's a whole team. There's another Sylvia, Richard, Nikki, Daniel, Priscilla, Ivan, Lewis. I mean, and it's a mix of people from the community that were housed and people that I met while they were on the streets. And now they have some sort of shelter and come back and help. And the truth is, you have to stand strong with what your conviction is. Like, one big thing that I had was no selfies. No one's going to go out there and take selfies. No one's going to take pictures. Who are you? I'm
Right.
sorry. You know what I mean? I don't care. I know when I'm down and out, I don't want to be in pictures. I don't want people to be like, hey, you know.
Right.
So that was a big thing. And to tell you the truth, volunteers would come out. The moment I said that, they wouldn't come out, and those people wouldn't come out anymore, you know.
So that lets
And
you know.
right, exactly. And there's different reasons why people volunteer. It's healing for myself, you know. There's various, but for this, and I'm not trying to say it's anything different because there's great organizations out there, but I think what Project Coffee Cup really just wants to be is just love. That's it. We're not fighting anything. We're not we're not any, it's just love. It's just a space of peace and love. And the right people will fall into that, you know, and the wrong ones will just hopefully go on their merry way to other places.
Hey,
You know?
do you think that sometimes it's because I don't know, this ties into that. Do you get better people to help out, like you said, the ones who have the hearts in it? Do you think it's more so the people that have been through something themselves that can really understand more, the ones that turn out to be, you know, because like you said, if not, then what is their motive, you know, or what, you know, sometimes you do have great, just good, kind-hearted people, but
Right,
sometimes you have to have someone that has been through something, you know what I
right.
mean, or has to have a heart for that, to like want to help people, because your average person really doesn't, you know. I don't think they do, you know. They
Right.
you know, they may feel sorry for someone, but really they don't want to be bothered with that, you know, a lot of times.
Well, I think with a lot of people, we put on blinders and we're so focused on our own life that when we see that, it affects us, and it touches our heart, but we always think someone else will take care of that.
Right,
And we're
right,
focused on our blinders. And you know, it's funny you say that because this Wednesday was you know, Mexican Mother's Day. So a lot of the ladies that come out and volunteer, the ones that do the cooking actually, you know, weren't able to because they were celebrating, you know, which was
right,
great. But one thing I paid attention to is the ones that were helping out Wednesday were people that were off the streets. I mean, you know what I mean? So it's like the people that come and at least volunteer with us, from the majority, yes, have either have had family out there or have been out there themselves or have stories, but not everyone. You
right,
know, we do have some people that um, you know, may have not been that down and out where they were never homeless, but they have a heart for people, you know. And
right,
so they do come out, but the majority is someone that has either experienced it themselves or had family that they've seen struggle with homelessness.
right, right. What has been the response from the community? Like, I'm sure you do this and a few probably other people, a team or whatnot, but you know, you're kind of doing it on your own, I'm sure. What has the response been from the community and people abroad? Like, do they like what you're doing? Like say just people that are looking from the outside, you know what I mean? Do they appreciate what you're doing? Like, what is the response from the communities that you guys represent?
Right. Well, for Santa Ana, I gotta say, it's been wonderful, amazing. Santa Ana is so supportive. It's community. A couple years ago, we had what I had a little event called Unity Day, and we had local Santa Ana artists perform. We had food, fun. It was just a great time. People brought donations. The community had a good time, and then we were able to go and do a Skid Row event with the donations that were brought and two Santa Ana events. So I have to say the community in Santa Ana has been amazing, supportive,
Right.
you know, great. We've have had, you know, challengers, I guess if you want to call them, you know, people that don't like what we do. You know, they feel that we are enabling some people or just, I guess that's the big one, is enabling, you know.
How
Um,
does that work? Do they like come out and protest? Like, how do you know
no,
about the people who don't like it?
most of them are in social media.
Okay.
Social media. I have never had anyone have the balls to sit there in my face tell me anything.
Right.
It's always social media, you know, and it's always the same thing. You know, you're just feeding drug addicts. I had a lady from a shelter, may I add. She ran a shelter because I do once a month. I bring barbers so we could have haircuts,
Right.
clean clothes, haircuts. I want to bring showers, but I don't have a place to bring showers. So if anybody has a location in Santa Ana that would allow me to bring showers, please hit me up because that's what I need. Um, but once a month I have haircuts. So a lady from the shelter told me over the phone that I was bringing more drugs into our city because they want to come and get a haircut. And I was thinking, wow, so you're blaming the drug problem in Santa Ana on me because people
Wow.
are getting haircuts? Okay, that's a stretch, but I'll take it. And
Right.
then I told the lady, because she's from a shelter, and I go, well, if you know that they're there, why aren't you there? If you know that I'm there with them, why aren't you there then? Where are you? Because you're the one that needs to be there. So
Right.
if you know I'm there, why aren't you there? And she had nothing to say to me.
Wow. Wow. That's crazy. Hey, do you get like support like not I wouldn't say the community, but like resources and things that people that like reach out and try to help the what you guys are doing from Santa Ana?
From within the community, yes. So families, things like that. But we're pretty much self-supported. We
Mhm.
don't have funding. We do it within our team. There's a couple of people that'll donate blankets, things like that. But it's mostly it's out of our pocket or out of donations from the community. But nothing like businesses or anything like that. Yeah.
Wow. Well, how can people like that want to support like something we can put out there, we'll put it in the comments or whatever, like do we where can people send support if they would like?
Well, you can go to the projectcoffeecup.org webpage. Project Coffee Cup, the Instagram page. We have Cash App, Venmo, all that. If you want to come out and volunteer with us, there's also the Instagram, the Project Coffee Cup _ Santa Ana. That's us if you're in Orange County, but we are going to Skid Row once a month. and we are out here in the IE too. San Bernardino, I don't know if anyone lives out by San Bernardino.
My brother lives out there.
All right. Well, if he has a heart for his community, tell him to hit me up and we can go out there and touch some people because San Bernardino looks like it needs some love.
Yeah, it does. Shout out
It
to
needs-
San Bernardino. What was I gonna say? Let me see. Someone had a question. What was that? Shout out to Jake. Oh, Jacob is in the comments. What's up, Jacob? So honored to have
Hi.
Sylvia
Yep.
on our team. She is such a blessing to the community. Her compassion for others is contagious.
I
Thanks,
paid
Jacob.
him to say that.
That's
Right.
our sponsor. Jacob is our sponsor, low key for the night. Nah.
Right.
Um, let me see. So I thought someone had a question. Let me see. Oh, Elia said, "Have you tried to connect with the county? I guess for a resource."
Orange County,
Yes.
the county as in,
I'm guessing Orange County to for a reason like to help out or how that works. I don't know how that works. I guess
well,
that's
yes, I have. I've connected with, I've exhausted a lot of those. I've sat with, the mayor himself. You know what I mean? So I've connected with a few people and the gatekeepers are few. I have to say that.
wow. So what is their take like? I mean, what are the politicians or the mayors and people saying about the homelessness or the situations besides, you know, move it out of here or whatever? What are their answers or do they have any resources that they are?
Well, so on paper, they have a contract with CityNet, and CityNet goes out and does what, hits the streets, finds people, and offers resources. So on paper, that is what's done, but um, in reality, it's very difficult to get someone into housing. In reality, I mean, to call the any shelter. I mean, there's one temporary shelter. You have to meet at a certain spot because a bus comes and picks you up at 7 o'clock. If you miss that bus, that's it. You're done. If you want to go in, you could either, if you go to the emergency room, then you have options for shelter. or if you get arrested, then you have options for shelter. So it's quite difficult. But on paper, they have a plan. You know, it's just execution is a different thing.
Right, right. So do we have any, like, I mean, for your politicians or whoever, they have stuff in planned or written down, like you said, well, we know it's not going on. Do we have any faith still in those people, or do we have to just do it ourselves, like what you're doing? Or do you still have faith in the
Okay, so me, myself,
county
Sylvia.
officials?
Yeah, myself, Sylvia. I have no faith in that, unfortunately. I do not. I
Talk
believe it's going to have to come from us. You
Okay.
know, we got to do it. We got to be the change we want to be. It has to be in our hands. You know, a lot of great programs started from the people, you know, food programs, lunch programs, after school programs. I mean, and I have no faith in those systems anymore. I feel like even if someone does come in with a good heart, it gets lost. You know, it can get lost. And so I feel a lot of people are very disconnected. You know, they don't actually go out and hit their streets. They don't actually know what's actually going on out there, the
Right,
dangers that are going on out there. You know, and I feel like it has to be us. We have to take control. We elect these people. We elect these people. You know, this is our money. This is our community. This is our home. These are our brothers and sisters out there. So it we can't just leave it up to a politician. You know, we can't leave it up to them. It has to be us. I believe
right,
that. Yeah.
right. Let me see. It was another question. If that person, I thought it was another question. I want to take a couple questions. Okay, Drunken Chef said, do you believe drug addiction plays a big part in homelessness? What about mental health, which may lead to drug addiction?
All of the above. Yes. Drug addiction, unfortunately, and homelessness. There are people that try very hard to stay away from drugs. Living on the street is extremely difficult. It is a battle. Drug addiction is a huge thing. Fentanyl right now
Ooh,
is is the devil. Is the devil. Is
yeah,
the devil. I mean, is the devil. I cannot say that enough. If you have no idea how bad the streets when fentanyl hit, people were telling me people were dying left and right. I'd be somebody tell me 5 people died last night, 2 people died. They found, you know, we have a gentleman that was working in a hotel for a while, motel, and he was telling me every night they find bodies, you know. I mean,
but
fentanyl
why
is
is that? How is it that I don't get it? You know, again, I'm not a user, but it's like, and I know people that's the thing with fentanyl. People are going to use regardless, so they're going to get what they have to get, and if it happens to be laced with fentanyl, it is. But why would even the people that push the stuff out there want that out there? I just don't get it.
I don't get it either. I don't get it either. I mean, you hear your theories, you know. Some people are saying they just want to kill you off or whatever, you know. I don't know. That is, but but it is killing people out there left and right. I mean, it's a monster. It's
It's getting
ravaging.
bigger and bigger. They say they find more and more of it, like with like shipments or whatever. You know what I mean? It's like it's
Yes,
it's a
yes,
real problem. I don't get it.
it's a huge problem, and it's going to get bigger. I mean, we're not. I don't think we're looking at it as serious as we should.
Right. And the deeper part of it, like I said, because some people say, just like Didi said, I don't understand why people use or sell that. I think it's bigger than that, because a lot of times people, I don't think, are openly wanting to use fentanyl, but sometimes it may be laced in what they get.
Right,
Some people do use it. I don't get that. But at the end of the day, people that are addicted to what they are addicted to are going to use regardless. So
right. Well,
they
the
would
thing
take
is with
that chance.
fentanyl,
They would take a chance. You
right?
know what I mean?
What I have heard with the fentanyl is, for example, there's a couple of people that I do know that are heroin addicts, and they did tell me that the reason why they will do the fentanyl is because in the morning, when they're sick, they're feeling really bad, they can hit the fentanyl and boom, they feel better right away. You
Oh,
know,
wow.
and at the end of the day, we're trying to numb a pain, you
Right.
know, and when you're on the streets, when you're like bottom on the streets, where you know you're talking to yourself, or you're out there with no shoes, where I mean, at that point, I don't think you stop and think about, oh,
Right.
the consequences to
Right.
that. The thing is, you just need to you just need to be out of this reality.
Right. Right.
You know?
Wow. So I mean, whoa. That's I was gonna ask, what do you think is there is no solution to that. But
Yes.
I mean, where do we?
Well, there's no solution, as in we can't stop the spread of fentanyl, but we can prevent. We can be more involved in each other's lives in love, not all metiche, you know what I mean? But like, just
Right.
like in love, like, we can be. I don't know where you grew up or how you grew up, but back in the day, the whole neighborhood took care of the kids. You
Right.
know what I mean?
It
The
took a village.
It takes a village, exactly. And we got to get back to that. We got to get back to that. This whole isolation thing of that's not my problem, that's them. We need to cut that because it's going to destroy us, you
That's
know?
a big problem, but that's another thing too that's so far gone. It's like we're at a point now, like you did say, back when we grew up, we knew everyone in the neighborhood, like whatever, all that. Now you don't even know your neighbor, even
Right,
if you live in an apartment, you don't
right,
even know your neighbor and don't want to know your neighbor. It's
right,
that bad.
right,
But like you said, you need each other regardless. You know what I mean? Because of that same reason. You know,
right.
so, but we're so far away from that though at this point. Like we are living in some different times right now.
We are. But it's sad because even myself or yourself, we make better decisions for ourselves when we have support, when we have loved ones, when we have that, we're stronger, we can do those, we can face those challenges. When we don't have that, when we have nothing, which is most of the people out on the streets, it's just it's a darkness, it's an emptiness. And a lot of time when you sit there, you could either feel that feeling or you could get high, you know and
Right.
it's like most of the time I'd rather get high because nobody wants to feel that feeling.
Right.
Nobody wants to feel alone, completely isolated alone.
Right. Um, who Elia mentioned something right here. That's their coping mechanism, mental health. But she said one thing in there, mental health, and that's what I want to ask you about. Mental health, what part does that play? Because like we just said, growing up, when we grew up, like mental health is not a new thing, but it's new amongst where now we know what this is, and you can get help or seek or know. Even like back when we came up, we didn't even know, of course, there obviously was mental health issues and things of that nature, but we knew nothing about that. We were taught to suck it up. So now, what part does mental health play in these things?
Well, a lot. You see a lot of mental health out there, that needs out there. I think that unfortunately mental health is another big one that causes people to be homeless. You see it. I don't quite I feel like with mental health, it's such a tricky thing because, I don't want to just grab people off the street because they are trying to push things where if someone looks like they're experiencing a mental health crisis, then the police officer, a judge, whoever can kind of take control of that, put them where they need to be, and then place them there. Which I feel like that's such a touchy thing, because I don't want someone that's struggling with mental health issues to just, you know, um, hurt themselves or hurt others out on the street. But I don't know how quick we should be about allowing somebody else to make that decision for us like that, if that makes any sense.
It
It,
does.
it's
How
just a very fine line with mental
exactly?
health.
That's what I wanted to get at, because how do we really truly identify mental health, what it
Right.
is, what it isn't,
Because
or
we all
someone
need,
just
we
saying
all
it, or
have,
we don't know what it, we don't even know what meant. Sometimes we don't. We could have mental health issues and not know it, right? How do
right.
we identify it?
Right. Right. And I honestly believe, especially after 2020, we all need therapy. You know what I mean? We all have issues that we got to
Right.
deal with. And sometimes we drive by and we see somebody that we think it's like mental health because they're like yelling on the street, and it's like sometimes maybe they're having a bad day. Maybe some depression hits. I don't know if any of your viewers or yourself has ever battled with any kind of depression. But it's when depression hits and you feel that overwhelmness, overwhelming feeling of sadness. I mean, just imagine now feeling that, but you're out on the streets with no one and chaos, and people are wanting you to just go away. And the world, it just feels like the whole world is against you. I mean, you can snap, you can mentally snap, and you could be upset and you just want to vent. You just want to vent, but it doesn't mean that you should be locked up for the rest of your life because of that. It just means that you do need help in different ways. But I'm mental health is an issue, but I'm not the first. I don't believe that everyone should be locked up right away.
Right. And that's why I say again, how do we identify mental health? What stages of mental health?
Right.
What, what I mean? And like you said, like um um even counseling. I heard you mention that, and I hear a lot about that now too. More people need counseling because,
Right.
again, what I'm trying to say, like when we came up, none of these things were common. If you came up in the inner cities or ghettos or
Right.
neighborhoods, you know what I mean. It's like that. We don't do that. So now it's becoming more open and more understandable for people to recognize. So how does one know too? Like you said, not only identifying mental health, but like if you someone that needs counseling, how would they know that? Or how would they seek it out? Say just like a homeboy from the neighborhood, they're like, I don't do that. So how would one know how to go about that?
That's such a good question, because obviously, you always hear like, oh, there's these hotlines, there's these places you can call, you could go online and this and that. Um, I myself have never done anything like that, but I would, if you're struggling with anything, I guess the most important thing is just to try to talk to anyone positive in around you. But most of the time when they're homeless and they don't have anybody, I mean, I guess that's the point of Project Coffee Cup. That's the point of us being there, because that's once we get close to someone, once we're able to connect with someone, then they're able to tell us, hey, I have these thoughts, or I need this help, or I'm feeling this, and then we're able to guide them. Most of the time, it is the hospital, unfortunately. What would be great is if anyone had any counseling experience that wanted to come out and volunteer with us and be out there with us, because um, a lot of people won't know, like you said, like even right now, I don't know how to answer your question. If somebody off the streets in Santa Ana came up to me, and it's happened, and like, hey, I need this specific help right now, I've called all the numbers that are given to call. I've done it. I've called 211. I've called the numbers I have, and most of the time there's still no answer. There's still no answer. So the truth is if we got to figure it out. You know what I mean? We got to find a way. If you have any kind of experience with that, you want to come out and volunteer with us, train us, teach us, show us, help us, because it's if right now a lot of the team from Project Coffee Cup are the only ones that some people are opening up to, you know, and it's so we need you to come to us, because
Right.
they're not that's just how it's going to be. I can't diagnose that, but maybe somebody else can. So then you come out with me and show me and teach me, because I know where there's people at, and then maybe you can help them.
Right. How
But
does that work? Denise said, does she only work with people from Santa Ana? She says she goes to LA too as well, and I'm sure surrounding areas, but she's based in Santa Ana, right?
right, that was the community I was living in, and so that's where um, I just paid more attention to, I guess you can say. That was
Right.
my community, so I really wanted to. What happened was I would go out with my roommate at the time, and I met a group of people. We were just out there. I would cook after work, and I'd go out there and hand what I could, make friends. And I met this small group of people in Santa Ana, and I they were elderly, and I had told myself I don't want them to die on the streets.
Right.
And so as of right now, all but one are in some sort of shelter. And so I'm very very proud of that, very happy. And it wasn't me doing anything, but just being there for them, just being there for, you know.
That means
So yeah, yeah,
when people
it
come out to
does.
see you and they see that, like you said, you're genuine. That's just the main thing. Like you said, even these people, like people that are on the streets or people, period, that are going through things, that's the one thing they can notice. Just like you said earlier, you have people who really heart's not in it. Those people can see, almost smell those people a
Oh
mile
yeah.
away. You know what I mean? They
Oh
recognize
yes.
the real and the fake. So they know this as well. So yeah, what would you say she helps people from Compton. She goes to Compton CPT. Shout out to Compton. Um um that's beautiful. What would you say when you deal with a lot of homeless people or people, period, that you have to deal with and you talk to them? What are some of the not stories, but like what is the most like feedback you get, or what they say is their issues or problems, or or things that they talk to you about that you see that a lot of them have in common, if any?
Hurts, um, traumas, abandonment, abuse. I was having a conversation with a gentleman, a young man, and he was telling me that in growing up in his house, everyone yelled. Everyone yelled. That's just the way they talked to each other, was yelling at each other. And he would see his parents fight and everyone. And then he would go to his friend's house. And his friend's family were kind and they were a little more tender to each other and a little more softer. And he thought it was weakness. He looked at it and his words were, I thought that was so gay. That just looks so
Right,
gay to me. But in tears, he told me, but it's not. It's not. We need that love. We need to show each other love. We need to show each other kindness and tenderness, no matter how hardcore, no matter how strong, no matter how tough. Everybody needs love. Everyone needs to be loved, needs to know how to be cared for and how to care for someone. And so I feel like the one common thing I hear out there is the lack of love that was in their life. You
right,
know, that's really what I feel is a big part of all of it. Is just we as kids growing up, a lot of our kids, we don't even realize they're growing up in very traumatic homes. They have PTSD and they don't even know it. Kids are resilient because they don't know any better. But when they grow up and they realized what they just went through, that's when all that triggers in. That's when all that comes in. That's when you want to numb yourself. That's when you got so used to survival mode. You got so used to fending for yourself and if you got to get yours or else you won't because no one else cared for you. And then all that kicks in when you're an adult, but it all stems from our childhood, our traumas, our loss.
right, right. What do you think about we spoke about how we grew up and it was different. Obviously it's way different now. What do you think that also plays in a part with the kids growing up, this generation now? Like you said, with not only all the other issues they have, so many things going on, but no really support from the community because everyone's for self and no one wants to deal
Right.
with someone else's problems. So put that on top of what the kids are going through now. What do you think about that and what these kids are faced with?
I I I think it's a very sad time for me because I feel like we have so much technology and so much information everywhere that we're actually in like a dark age.
Mm.
And there's so much.
Expound on that. I like that because, like you said, it is because I was going to say that too with the kids. On the flip side, they have so many things afforded to them that we didn't. We didn't have internet. We didn't have all these things that can help us. You know what I mean? Make it a little
Right,
easier. But on the flip side, it's a lot of bad with that too. So,
right.
how does that
And
work?
and what reality is. And I feel like we just we need to turn all that off. We need to be able to go back to our roots, to play in the dirt, to be on our bikes, to to have our friends, to go on adventures, to do all those things that kids are supposed to do. You know, everyone's growing up so fast. You know, with social media, it's great because it brings awareness, but it can do so much damage. You know, these filters, these all these things that make this imaginary
Too much
world.
information for these kids because it's too much for us adults. We like it's
Yeah,
too much we didn't have. Like I'm amazed sometimes. So the kids have the same stuff we do. Like it's not like a age limit or whatever for technology. And you know, when your kid has a phone, they have access to the same things you do. You know what I
right,
mean? Sometimes you
right.
can put restrictions
And
and all that,
don't
but
say
you
no,
know,
not my kid. My kid won't do it. My kid won't look
right,
that up. Don't say that because your
right,
kid will.
right.
You
So
know?
yeah,
Yeah.
it's
And
like the gift and the curse.
it is. It is. It is. And it's again, that's another thing that it brings isolation, and it brings a division because I don't know if you notice on social media, it's so easy to pick those fights. It's so easy to offend people. It's so easy to just say those vicious things because no one's going to clock you in the face, right? On social media, you know?
That's created a whole nother animal too
Yeah,
with this
yeah,
social media stuff, and people just social media is out of control. Like
it is.
with these, you know, wow. Yeah, I'm glad you touched on that. Hold on, let me mention this because Denise, she wants to know how does she get in touch with you? She wants to connect with. She's in Orange County as well, but
If you have Instagram, at Project Coffee Cup _ Santa Ana. Um, that's the best way. Or if you want to send an email, projectcoffeecupoc@gmail.com. Um, let me see. Facebook, Sylvia Fuentes.
that should be good. She has IG. I'm sure she connect like you said through IG. Just message her
Right,
Project Coffee Cup. Um, Yeah, let me see what else people are saying. I think it Drunken Chef said, I think it plays a big part. Our generation had drugs too and gangs. Dads either doped up or locked up or passed, and so many kids left behind who are now adults and don't know how to cope. Right.
right,
Right. We had a lot, like you said, all of that. But I just think now it's a little different because they have all of that what we had, like or the lack of. You know what I mean? But
right,
a little worse because I think that the even though we didn't have everyone have a father in the home or whatever the other circumstances, quote unquote, we dealt with, we still had a little more structure, like she said, more of a village. You know what I mean?
right,
Now we don't have that at all. And then now on top of that, it's a big connect with the youngsters and even not only fathers but father figures or older homeboys because it's like a big disconnect too with this generation. So I don't know, it's a lot going on.
right, right.
Um No love or support, right?
No lovers. Yeah, support is such a huge thing that I mean we're as humans I believe that God is the creator of all life, you know, and I believe that we are all connected. And when one of us hurts, we all hurt, you know, and to feel love and support just I mean you could you show love in to a plant and it'll blossom. Just imagine what it does to people. You know what I mean? It's just like that's a necessity we all need because we are all connected. I believe that.
Right. The homie said we need more boys and girls. Yeah, that's another thing. I don't think we have a lot of programs anymore. Definitely not in schools, but poor programs like Boys and Girls Clubs, YMCA stuff we had
Right,
four
right,
programs for kids. You know, that's a big problem.
right.
That's
We
a
need
very
people
big problem.
we need more mentors too. We need more mentors to come out and talk to these kids and show them different ways of life, teach them art, music, things that they wouldn't even think about, you know. We need more mentors. Mentors are huge. To me, I feel like if a kid just needs one person to push them to know that they got their back. Honestly, sometimes it just takes out one having that one person, you know? And it's just if if you're out there and you feel like you are successful or you have a trade or you've learned something or you go back, go back to your old neighborhood, go back to those kids, go to your nieces, your nephews, your every just teach these kids that there's so much to life, not just what's in front of their faces. There's so much more. There's people in Orange County, there's kids in Santa Ana never been to the beach. you know they
That's
wouldn't even
a fact.
think about surfing. That's not their thing. Why not? why
That's a
not
fact.
why
A
not
lot of,
why
lot
can't
of
you do
kids don't
that?
get out their neighborhood. Like you said, it can be
Right,
15 minutes or miles from the beach and never been.
right,
That's a
right,
fact.
right.
Um, Life is good. Let me go back to life is good. He mentioned that, okay, Kaiser's mental health absolutely sucks. Okay, I went back to church and got clean. Okay, some people, like you said, they have programs that they do, or lack of, that don't work or whatever. Some people find their healing in God, going to church, and
Right.
what do you think about that, the church aspect? Do you get support, or what do you think about that part with people getting help from God, going to church? Because that's
Yeah,
tricky as well. Now that's a beautiful thing, but you know how that the same
yeah.
way, that's a thin line as well. So what do you think about?
Right. Well, that's through experience. It's funny that you talk about that, because I myself went through church. Like, I was a wild child. I did my shenanigans out there, and it was church that calmed me, that showed me a different way. But in that, I also did fall into the legalism that can happen with church, and sometimes with good intentions, but it can do damage. If I always say, you have to still be wise. I mean, so it can do some damage. But with that, I've been fortunate that in the Santa Ana team, we have different members from different churches that come out. And because one of our, I don't want to say rules, but one of our guidelines is we don't push that. We don't push the church, the religion, the politics, or nothing. If someone wants to pray, of course, we'll pray for them, but we're not there to tell them what to do, or who's your soul's condemned, or anything like that. That's not what we're there for. Um, like I said, there's not just one answer for everyone. And for some people, that's the road that needs to be taken for them. That's what helps them. And that's beautiful, but not for everyone. Some people AA might be something that's going to work better for them, or uh, Buddhism. I don't know. It's just,
what
there's
do, what
just
do
no
you
one
find
answer.
what do you find, not to put you on the spot, because I know you always say it's not one answer, and I definitely agree. What do you see personally? And you said you went to church, got help or whatever, but not even personally with you, but overall, what do you see that works the most, if any, you can see that people, which way they go, that you see that kind of helps the most with them
Just
overall?
knowing that they have love and support from someone, whether it's the church, whether it's the AA, whether it's Project Coffee Cup, just knowing that they have someone that has their back, just knowing that they have someone to count on, just knowing that they don't have to go through this alone. So most of the time, that's the comfort of church, is that it does bring community. And that's one of the reasons I got involved with church, is because it brought community, it brought a family, that family feeling. And
Right.
that is needed in each and every one of us. We need family. We are tribal people. We are not creatures of isolation. We need to be with other life, and that's what's needed. So whether it's church, religion, any group, you need community. So it's the support and love of community. That's what's needed. And so I think that's why church does help so much, is because it does bring community.
Right. Do you ever think, because just the way the world is going and headed, I don't know, it's a lot, but do you think we can get back to that
Yes.
one time or another? Do you think there's
Yes,
hope
with,
for that?
with all my heart, because
Okay.
the more we meet people like each other that want to make a change, the more it grows, and that's what has to happen, is we just have to grow it. There is no plan B. This is it. This is our lives. This is our world. This is it. So there is no plan B. So yes, we can change it. We're at a perfect time right now to make these changes. We're in a place after this pandemic, and after everything that happened, we're in a place that we can make changes right now, and it's time that we do. And I believe the more that we find like-minded people, the more the light grows, and we can
Right.
overcome.
Right, I agree. What do you see? What is the future for Sylvia Fuentes and Project Coffee Cup Santa Ana, or like what is the where do you go now from now? Because you've been doing what you've been doing. What is the future goals, or what do you want to do next? Like,
What Well, what I would like to do is, of course, Santa Ana is wonderful. I want it to keep going, but I'd
right,
like to be able to build more teams in different communities. You know, find people that have a heart for their community, and help them build that within their community. I think what's grown in Santa Ana is absolutely wonderful. I mean, there's no way to explain it. But when we meet on Wednesday night, and it's the volunteers plus people on the streets, it blends into this family that is truly, not to sound cheesy, but it's truly magical. Like, it's a beautiful experience, and I feel like if we can do that in every community, that's how it grows. We just got to plant those seeds. So I'm hoping the future of Sylvia is still with Project Coffee Cup, and that Project Coffee Cup is just growing in communities everywhere. And that we
right.
realize that sometimes we don't have to have nothing but a little cup of coffee to break ice, and it can change the world. It literally can.
Right. How does one I spoke earlier about how to get in touch with you and to help you, but how does one, like, if they want to be a part or start their own chapter, or be a part of Project Coffee? I see Jacob's in the comments as well. Maybe you can answer, but how does one get connected to be a part of Project Coffee Cup, to want to say, I want to spread this now on my own as well? How does that work?
Just reach out to myself or Jacob. Let us know, and we'll make it work. We'll make it work. You know what I mean? Somehow we'll make it work. If you have a heart for your community, if you really want to go out there and you want to touch people's lives and make a difference, we'll make it work. We have we have people in different cities that are, we can do it. So just reach out through Instagram if you want to, reach out to Jacob or myself, and we'll find a way. But it just starts, we just need one person with a heart that wants to do it, and we'll meet you there.
That's beautiful. Um, what other things do you have going? Like, I want to make sure everything is out there. Like, for you,
Yeah, let
not
me
only
tell
to
you.
support, but let you, let people know what you have going on as well. What else does Sylvia have going on that you want to put out there?
Let me tell you. Well, not only it's Santa Ana has been wonderful. We have a weekly outreach every Wednesday night, where for sure we bring at least a fresh hot meal. We bring more. We try to bring blankets, hygiene products, clothes, all this dog food, all those things. But for sure, a hot meal, that's a weekly thing. Once a month, we do the same thing, only we bring haircuts. We're also part of, we work with Homeless Corps. And also, funny thing, speaking of social media, um, I got a message through Instagram that somebody needed help in the city of Cerritos. So when we went to go check it out, sure enough, there was an encampment of about 50 people out in
Mm.
Cerritos. And so now, we've been helping them. We go out and help them once a month, because with having Santa Ana, it's hard. Like I said, we're all self-funded. It's all through our own collecting of stuff. So we were only able to commit to Cerritos once a month, but we go out there and help them. And then within our relationships that we've built from the streets that now have, people have transitioned into housing, we we started going to this low income housing building. It's a 71 unit building where a lot of people that we know have transitioned and lived there. And as we were going to visit our friends there, we noticed that just because you're off the streets doesn't mean the mentality is gone. And a lot of times they still don't feel that community. Now they're in a strange place behind strange walls, and they don't even have their friends from the streets anymore. So we kind of decided to bring what we have on Wednesday nights to the building there. So now, we have team members, Sylvia and Daniel, that go every other Friday. They bring fresh hot food, um, laundry detergent, toilet paper, necessities that are needed. The residents at the building love it. They come out, they're friendlier. We had a lady who had gotten off the streets, and when she first moved into her apartment, she was just like, everyone's mean, nobody wants to be my friend. And now she's a social butterfly. You know what I mean? She's the one just involved. And so the goal there is to make that their community, make that their home. So they don't want to ever lose their home again, you know?
Right.
So, so when people donate, it goes to those that are housed in Santa Ana, to the Cerritos encampment, and also it goes to the housing community in Midway City. That's where that is at. So we stretch it. It goes a long way.
That's beautiful. And I had this thought, I don't know, maybe you already do it or not, or Jacob, like being that you are Project Coffee Cup, I think it would be great to like maybe you take out coffee. I don't know, you started doing that. I don't know if you do it now or whatever, but I think it would be great to have your own coffee brand of Project Coffee Cup. And that would
Right?
be a great way for people that want to just, that's how people can donate
Yeah.
all the coffee, and that goes to, you know what I mean, stuff like that, and it become a
Yes.
brand, and something that people use to support, to help
I,
the you know what I mean, help the movement, you know what I mean, make
I
Project
yes.
Coffee Cup an actual coffee, and people love, because I love coffee, and they love. I know a lot of people that love coffee and help it, it starts my day every day. So I would love to buy some Project Coffee Cup, and know that I would be helping support a movement,
Oh, you're absolutely right. That's actually something that we have heavily discussed. So if anyone out there knows how we can get that ball rolling, where to guide us on how to do something like that, or any kind of help in that direction, that would be great. I myself am a simple person, so is Jacob. I think that's why we get along so well.
Right.
And so if things on that matter, we could use the help, So if
Right.
there's anyone that can, let us know, because we've always talked about that. I mean, the goal is, I believe Jacob I'd always talked about having like a coffee shop where those in need can
Yep.
come,
Right.
and
Right.
so
That's
that would
dope.
be great. But
That's
I
dope.
would like to start with at least a bag of coffee with the Project Coffee Cup label on there. That would be
That's
great.
dope to have their own coffee cups too, with the Project Coffee
Yeah,
Cup. Man,
yeah.
that's all
I'm
merch
messing
as well.
around a
That's
little bit
merch
right now
as
with
well, for that people can use to support. Great merch.
right. Right, exactly. And I'm kind of messing around right now. I'm trying to create this like coffee or chata drink to see if that works, but I don't know. We'll see. But fingers crossed. Hopefully we have coffee out there soon.
Right. Come on, Jacob and Sylvia, you guys get involved. Coffee and the coffee cups. You know what I mean? That's a
Right?
great souvenir to have a Project Coffee Cup, because I know people who use coffee cups or whatever, not only the plastic ones, but a real one. You know what I mean? That
Yeah.
can have Project Coffee Cup, and that can be their coffee mug, and it's a representation of it.
Right? No, I
Advertising
think
as
you're
well.
onto something there. I think that's something that needs to be done ASAP. Yeah.
Yeah. So come on, Jacob, let's go. Just
Come
cut
on,
me in. No,
Jacob.
I'm just playing. No, I love that idea, and I just think things like that are ways people can use to support or promote or help the movement in any way. Even if I'm just on my show right now and I have a cup right here. If this had a Project Coffee Cup, that could help get the word out.
I'm gonna send you one. All right. I am gonna
Please do.
send you one. So
Please do.
so you will have one. Ask and you shall receive. I'm pretty
Please do.
resourceful. I don't know if you
And I
know
will
this.
represent
Pretty
every, just
resourceful.
like I have this
Make it
cup, I will have
happen.
a Project Coffee Cup, and I will represent every time.
Right. Oh, okay. I got you. Challenge accepted. I will
Yes.
do that. Yeah.
Yes, yes. So, Sylvia, so we talked about a lot of things there. I asked you as well, like, is there any other things you have going on that you want to promote or put out there? Is there anything we missed? Like anything else you want to put out there? Because I know you represent and you're doing a great job. But what about Sylvia as, I don't even want to say it that way, like personal, but like Sylvia as a person, is there anything you are looking to do for you, or like aside from, I don't want to say aside from helping people because that's your life, but
Right.
anything that you want to, put out there that Sylvia has going on?
No, I'm pretty boring to tell you the truth.
Okay.
um, that I have going on, not much. No, I, I'm just working, spending time with my daughter right now. That's what I'm really focusing on. Just trying to be in the community as much as I can.
Right.
So I mean, this is my life. This is my life. It's not a hobby. It's not a
Right.
pastime. this is my life. This is what I do. I can do other things, but why?
Right.
Why? You know what I mean?
Well, okay.
Why?
Well, let me clarify then. Do you have time, like being that this is your life, and I got that from you from the beginning. This is your life, and that's what separates you, like you said, from the people who are just kind of halfway in and halfway out, right? But
Right.
on the flip side, do you get, not even to get personal what you do, but do you get any time for yourself though? Not to say what you do or whatever, but do you at least get time for yourself, personal wise,
Oh yeah,
aside
yeah,
from
yeah.
what you
I
do?
think that's priority.
Okay.
You have to make time. I do. I make time for myself. Um, even if it's just a few minutes, I make sure I do even meditate. Um, it's important to take time for yourself. So, I'm a big motivational kind of. I listen to those morning motivational kind of things. And one thing that I always hear is like, you can't give to people if you're empty. you
Oh,
know you
oh,
have to
deep,
make sure that your cup is full. So the
deep.
way my cup fills is, I'm a grandmother, so I spend time with my daughter, my granddaughter, and the love there overfills me that I'm able to give that. So yeah, self-care is important. I mean, it is very important. And I'm a crier. I'll cry. If it's in me, I cry. I believe the tears are flowing and I'm getting it out. I believe crying is part of self-care. So
Right. A couple of times I
but
thought you were gonna cry tonight. I was like, is she getting teary eyed? But
almost,
you held it
almost,
together.
almost,
You held it
yeah.
together.
But
Obviously.
no, that's very important. Yes, I make time for myself. You have to. You have to. You can't be unbalanced. There's when there's people that maybe not depend on you but look to you, then you got to make sure that if you love them, you can't not love yourself, because it just doesn't work that way. You have to self-care.
Right. Well, when see, because people like you are interesting because, like you said, when you help someone so much, I want to ask, like, how do you, just like kind of I asked you a minute ago, how do you get separated and get personal time? But not only on top of that, when you help someone so much and inspire other people, who motivates you or inspires you or keeps you like that you can look to or whatever?
um okay, well, Jacob is a good mentor to me. He motivates me a lot. It's gonna sound silly, but I'm a big Tupac fan. All right, and
Oh,
yeah.
whoa, 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 whoa,
All
whoa,
right,
whoa,
hear me
whoa,
out. Hear me out.
whoa, whoa, whoa.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And right, right.
I
And
ain't
I'm
mad
just
at you. I
listening to
ain't
his
mad
words.
at you. I
Yeah,
ain't mad at you. I'm a
yeah,
Tupac fan too, so you ain't say nothing wrong.
yeah. I mean, just if you know him, if you listen to him, then you know. And I believe in that wholeheartedly.
Right.
So
That's
so
what's up.
I Yeah, I do. Most of the people I admire, unfortunately, have passed away. I feel like this world doesn't keep them here long,
Right.
unfortunately.
Right.
But yeah,
Which makes it more important for people like you said, for you to realize that and acknowledge that makes it much more important for you to do what you're doing. Because, like you said, none of us are promised. So we have to
right,
leave a mark and leave something here. That's what we're striving for, right? That's because
right,
that you get to a point in your life where you have to live for something because you know you're gonna die. So
right,
you know what I mean. We got to live for something now. Something we can leave here,
right,
or even if we don't leave anything, leave a good memory, and people
right.
can say some good things about you. So
I
that's
think
beautiful.
so. Unfortunately, we're in a time that people confuse legacy with fame
Mm,
and fortune. Because
preach.
Yeah, well, like when what Jacob and I do, or the whole team in Santa Ana. I mean, there is money, but there's no money. There's no fame and fortune in what we do, right? No one's gonna make a statue of us. No one's gonna do anything. Our reward is literally at that moment that we're helping those people, and then it goes away. That's it. I mean, and I feel like leaving legacy, people need to realize that it's not how many Instagram followers you have, how many likes. how hot your body was. No
Right.
offense to those
It was
that work
the
hard on their
impact.
body, because
Right.
that's great, but your legacy should be your heritage, your family, your roots, your children, what you're leaving, our future, you know? That should be legacy. That is what we should be focused on. There's, you know, we all live by memes nowadays, but there is this meme that said, use things, not people, you know? And I feel like we're backwards. We're in a world that love things and hate people.
Ooh.
And I think that's a wrong place. We got to turn that.
Hold on. That was deep. Right. Hold on. Say that one more time, please,
I
Sylvia.
don't know if I can. I think I
You said
said,
we're in a time where you said we love things but hate people.
yeah.
So it's a facade. Like you just said, speaking on like social media, internet, all these technology, because that is a big part. So we're more in love with the thought of it or the technology.
Oh,
Like you said,
yeah.
we can love to see and watch someone, but and act like we seem like we love them, but we really don't.
But we really don't. But we really don't. And
Wow.
that's the sad part, is like we give the illusion of love, but it's not real love, you know? Or we love someone when the camera's on, you know? When the camera's on, we'll give you that hug, you know? When that camera's on, I'll treat you nice. But if the camera's not on me, then, you know, why bother? And I
That,
pay attention to those things. I pay attention to, especially with volunteers. Like I look and I feel it's so funny when I see someone that's extra kind to someone on the street. It's a good thing. I like that. But then I see how horrible they are to like their spouse or their just anyone in general. Like, and I kind of think, you know, I'm not religious as in the Christian religion, but the Bible does say you can't be unevenly yoked, you know? So it's like if you can treat someone you care for so badly, how am I supposed to trust that the way you're treating the stranger is genuine? You
mm,
know? So it's like
mm.
you
Wow.
have to watch people. You have to see people. It's like love is love is love is love. And you should, if you're only showing love when it benefits you, uh, uh, that can't be real love, you know? It has to be when it doesn't benefit you, when 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 it's someone that you don't even probably even like, you know.
Right.
You know, there was we had served at this homeless encampment one time, and I were so many people I wasn't paying attention really. And so I was, you know, as I was handing a plate, I was talking to a gentleman, and then you know, it was a regular interaction. I walked away, and then someone came up to me and stopped me, and they're like, "Sylvia, how did that feel?" And I go, "What are you talking about?" And they're like, "You just talked to a white supremacist." And I go, "What are you
Mm,
talking?" And he goes, "Look at him. He had a swastika tattoo right here, you know." And as I was thinking back in my conversation, I was thinking like, wow, that's true. He didn't look at me in the eye. There was just subtle things that maybe now I see like, oh, okay. And I real and then they asked me again, well, how do you feel about that? You know, you just, and I'm like, well, it's loving without prejudice. You know, I don't know what he's done. I don't know where he stands. Whatever he has on his neck at one time, he must have felt that. I don't know if that's where he feels now. But on my part, I will come to him with love. And I want him to know that this brown girl fed him when he was down and out. All
right.
right, you know?
Right.
And so and you just, we don't turn anybody away. So
That's beautiful because I seen that in the what do you call it? The thing you guys like you said, love without prejudice. You know what I
right,
mean?
right.
Yeah, I really that's stuck. So that's why when you just said that, I remember that. That's beautiful as well. To love without prejudice, like you just said, sometimes though you have to have like I just think it has to be in you, not on you. You know what I mean? Whether you're a
Right,
volunteer or not, to especially to do that, it has to be in you, not on you. And
right,
clearly you have it in you. You know, it glows, it's pouring out of you. You know what I mean? The love. Everyone, now seriously, everyone's seeing that. You know, and you said it yourself, because even when I asked you about personal things, you said, no, it's not about me and this is what I do. You know, so how does that like were you always one like 'cause, again, it has to be in you. So did you know you were always like this, or did it what did it take for you to realize that this is what I'm here for?
No, I was not always like this. I I grew up I bounced around a lot as a child. So I knew my parents, but they weren't solid in my life, you
Right,
know? And in that, in growing up um in this world as especially as well as any kid, but as a little girl, it's a tough world. You know, it's a tough world to grow up alone in that. And so by the time I hit 14, um, I was just basically living on my own already. You know, I was on this basically the streets, you know, and a lot happened in all that when when I had my daughter, when I came to a place where I saw life in a totally different way, and I thought about those times of growing up and feeling so alone, feeling so scared, and knowing no one's going to come and save the day. You know, it's not like that. I realized that, you know, there's a lot of people out there that still feel that way every day, right now in these streets, out our doors. There's someone that is scared and alone. So I thought, well, if I can go and comfort one person, you know, maybe that's something. Maybe in a way, it's healing for myself. You know, it's healing for myself that
right,
um that whole no one's ever going to come that I just said is not true, because you know, people do come. There are people that do care. There are people that want to go out there and want the best for someone else, even if it's a complete stranger, you know. And in that, in growing up that way, I can see how easy it is to feel like you are so disconnected from the whole world. So why bother? You know, why bother to fit in their rules? Why bother to live in their society? Why bother to to adjust to that normality when they don't even care? You know,
right.
so
That's you know what thing another thing that you said too, that you touched on, that you just said, and I found out as well, like when we like I deal with a lot of people too, and um sometimes you can find love or just something in a stranger more so than
oh yeah,
that people that quote unquote supposed to love you or family or whatever.
ah,
Find more in a stranger or more love that you or whatever from a
right.
stranger.
Right. Well, most of the, not most, but a lot of the people out on the streets, the traumas and the abuse and the hurts,
Mhm.
they were from the people that they loved and they were supposed to love them. They were caused by the people that were, God gave them the authority to care for them, and they were the ones hurting them. They
Right,
were the ones betraying them. They were the ones showing them how horrible this world can be. You know, that's that's a lot of what's out there, is the people that were supposed to teach that love to someone were their monsters, you know? So now how are they supposed to tap into any kind of love when
right.
the one person that was supposed to show them that didn't? You know, so it's a tough thing. Jacob has this great saying that what we do is we're putting a band-aid on a shotgun wound, you
Wow.
know,
Look,
because
look. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
no, go ahead.
No, I was going to ask you how does one regain, and this is not this can speak in general for people in general in life
Right,
general. How does one regain, especially like you said, someone that is homeless or on the streets or have gone through so much where they're down and just don't care. How does one regain trust from not only probably whoever had them that way, but people in general or strangers or family or anyone to help them, because that's a big part of it,
right,
having to trust people to allow
right,
them to help you or whatever they can do to help you or to help you get
right,
back better. How does one and that's not only for people on the streets, but people in general. People have issues where
right.
they're broken down, whether it be love, because they're lonely now. How does one regain trust in the society that we live in now?
Um, what I found in the people I interact with, And their feedback from me is that the consistency, the consistency I showed, or the team showed, that when we said we would be there, we'd be there. When it took a lot of years. I met people years ago that now can walk into a crowd and hold their head up a little higher and interact and be seen. And
Right.
those are wins, and it was because of the consistency of being that familiar face. And one thing, I had a gentleman that I literally sat with him in the gutter when he was high and drunk and crying. And we were in the gutter, and I sat there a good 45 minutes. And then at the end of it, he looked at me and he goes, "Sylvia, you will never see me like this again. I promise." And, I was like, sure, whatever,
Right.
like, no worries. About 3 months later, I saw him again, and he was clean and sober. And it's been about, I'd have to say, it's been 6 months now. And he's been working. He's been doing good. He's fallen here and there, but he gets back up, and I didn't do anything but sit with him in his time of need. You know, that's all I did. I didn't give him words of wisdom. I didn't nothing. I just sat with him, and he was able to cry and be safe, and in a place where you're not supposed to show weakness, because the vulnerable get hurt out there,
Right. Right.
you know.
Right.
But he was in a safe place. The Santa Ana team has brought such a beautiful spirit to that street, that it's such a safe place, that he was able to do that. And he's been working. He just told me that his daughter is graduating. And here comes the tears. Sorry,
Right.
but his daughter
I
is
know you've
graduating.
been holding it back. It sounds like you've been holding a lot of them
Yeah,
back the whole night. Like
yeah,
sometimes I hear
right.
it
But
in your voice. Go ahead.
he told me that his daughter is graduating, and he gets to go now with his head held high, and he's going to be able to buy her a gift.
Wow.
And this was a man that I literally sat in the gutter with, okay? And I tell people, you cannot count anybody out, all
Right.
right? Never count anybody out. I don't care how far down you think they've gone. Love that person and watch that person grow, you
Wow.
know?
Wow. Homie said pass you a tissue. Hey, wow. What was I gonna say? What far as like what was the confirmation for you? Like I asked you earlier, like obviously you knew what you had to do and what you were here for, and you started fulfilling that. But has there been any confirmation? Like, do you need confirmation, like from people like to that you get that understand you and really appreciate you? Like, have you gotten your flowers in a sense?
Oh yeah. In a weird way, yeah. Let me tell you, the first time I ever volunteered with Project Coffee Cup, I went out with Jacob, and I didn't know really exactly what I was doing. We're just handing out food. You know what I mean? It's all I knew. So I'm just out there handing out food. And that was rewarding. But I went to go meet a friend right afterwards. And she happened to be in a situation where there was a bunch of little kids, about kindergarten, first grade. There's probably about 10 of them. I don't know these kids to save my life. And I
Right.
happened to show up, and one of the kids looked at me, and I don't know if she mistook me for someone, but she goes, "You're here." And all of them came and ran, and they hugged me with
Right.
such love, with such, like, whoever they thought I was like, yay,
Right.
But I took that as a reward from God.
Mm.
I took that as a gift of what back, and when I see my people, when I see Pepe, when I see um, Sally, when I see their faces, and when I see their smiles, and when I see them happy, and I know that we brought this moment of joy in a very dark place, that right there, you can't beat that feeling. You can't beat that feeling of of bringing light in a dark place, you know. And so it's more powerful than a drug for me. It's beautiful to see that, and it makes me I want to experience that more. You know, I want to be able to bring that smile to someone that normally wouldn't, you know.
That's beautiful. You spoke earlier that you have a child. I think you said a daughter. Am I
And a
correct?
granddaughter.
Oh, and a granddaughter. So
And a
shout out to
granddaughter.
the grandmas out there. I know
Thank
out
you.
Ellie. I know she has a beautiful granddaughter. What? Okay, so let me speak on this because speaking on you being an inspiration and all this, what have you? I don't want to say passed on. What has your daughter taken from you that you see, if any, that like has rubbed off on her? Like, do you see your
Oh my
daughter
gosh.
continuing or having any of the traits or you know what I mean, things that you're
Right.
doing that she wants to continue? Let's talk about that.
My daughter is my magnus opus. Let me tell you, she is such
Break that down for the people who don't know what that means.
she's a masterpiece. She's a masterpiece.
Right,
She
right.
she she's absolutely amazing. Like, she does things without doing things. If this makes any sense. For example, she moved into this apartment building and she has her little girl, and in this apartment building she saw a bunch of kids. They were all playing around and most of them wanted to play with just my granddaughter's toys because they didn't have the scooters of their own. They didn't have the bikes and this and that. So my daughter went on like OfferUp or Craigslist or something, and she got a bunch of bikes and scooters, and then she brought them all to the kids. Like, so now they all have things to play with. One day I come to her house and there's all these kids in her house. I'm like, what are you doing? She's like, crafts. We're doing crafts. All right. And they're all just doing things. And I thought, that's just in her. That's just in her, you know, to just, she already knows just to just you pay it forward, just keep going. And so she does that. I mean, she's a beautiful soul. And so I'm quite proud of her.
Very
And I
sweet.
see her do things without having to do things, if that makes sense. Like, I know I'm part of Project Coffee Cup, but she's just, that's just in her to do those things, you know.
Right.
So I'm very proud of her. I mean, she's a beautiful person.
I'm sure she's proud of you too. And a lot of people in the comments are giving you a lot of love. They say you're just a beautiful soul and
Oh.
everything. Do you think
In
like
real life I'm a horrible person, just
no,
so
I
everybody.
doubt I doubt that. But do you think like do you want to like I spoke earlier, like things you want to do? Do you see yourself being beyond not beyond, but like wanting to even do more? Because I could see you like as a motivational speaker for young women. You know, not only seriously because you know young ladies are at risk a lot, you know, young men too. We need mentors
Right.
like you said, and
Right.
a lot of young women need someone, you know, that they can listen to, but you know it's tricky when it comes to youngsters because we were young as well. We pick and choose who we will even allow ourselves to listen to and
Right.
really take them seriously. Like, okay, is she just like you said earlier, she just one that's just speaking because she works with this program, or does she genuinely mean it? So I think
Right.
you're one of them, one that genuinely does mean what you say. And I think young women would love to hear you, you know. So
Uh,
I think that would be something great that you can do. Like, I don't know how, but to empower young women and just speak.
I
People,
would love
period.
that if I was ever given that opportunity. um I would love that, especially to young women, because I you know, I know how lost we can get in this world when so many voices are trying to tell us how to be, how to look, how to act, what you should be like, who, you know. And sometimes we just need to know that we're okay just the way we're at. You know what I mean? Just who we are. We don't have to. I like the song you played on our with the promo for me, "Chasing Rainbows." I caught that last line, and I
Okay.
feel like a lot of the times that could be a good thing or it could be a bad thing. And sometimes we're chasing these rainbows that have no end, you know. And we need to just realize that we're okay in our own skin, that we are just as powerful, just as strong, and you know, we're warriors. We're warriors. Women have gone through, and men, but women have gone through so much, you know. When
Women
women,
have. I agree.
Yeah.
Women have
Yeah.
gone through a lot, and a lot of it has to do with men. You know, us men, and we're all victims because we all like um don't know. Like a lot of men, young men, boys who have to turn them in are not guided correctly. You know what I mean? They have a
Right.
false narrative. You know, so it
Right.
all trickles down, and it all affects one another. You know, so
Right.
like blind leading the blind. So
Right. I
uh,
do gotta say, and I'm not taking away any. I'm not giving men a easy way out, but I do gotta say that it's not always. It's not just the men's fault, because I feel like for the longest time we've lived in a society that classified women like the worst thing that can happen to a woman is her man leaving her. A
right,
man, the worst thing that can happen is he loses his job, his livelihood. That's
right.
devastating. But for a woman, it's, oh, she got divorced, her man left her. And it's kind of like society had put this stigma on men and women of certain roles, certain places. And I feel like that's what needs to be erased. That's what needs to be erased, is that because women, no, the worst thing that happens was not our man leaving us. I'm sorry, you know what I mean? Like, it should emotionally hurt because our heart were in it, but we can pick ourselves up. We work now, we do so much now that that we have to see the lines different. We are not the weaker vessel. I mean, emotionally maybe yes, but in this world, this day and age, I don't see, work wise, I don't see any job that gender would hinder it in any way.
And no,
You
I'm glad
know?
you said that because women, salute to the women, women empowerment. I salute to the women because women are now in a lot of instances like the tables have turned. Like women are being more productive and not just at home, and women have great job. A lot of, I mean, truthfully, a lot of women are doing better than men these days. Let's keep
Right,
it real. So,
right,
um, with that being said, how does a woman like yourself or period how move forward with that? Because now women, the tables have turned to where women can be so empowered that they intimidate men. You
right.
know, so how do we have your strong men out there? How does one choose a strong? How do we keep our men encouraged to not
Well,
be intimidated?
right. I can't speak for the men. The only thing I could say is once women stop being bitches to each other,
Ooh,
like
ooh.
once we start realizing that we are not each other's enemies, like ladies, we're not competing, we're not anything. We need to support each other. Men, you guys, I don't know, you guys are just gonna have to catch up. You know what I mean? You guys are gonna have to man up.
Right,
That's the
man
saying,
up, man up.
yeah, man up. If we're too strong for y'all, then you guys got to man up. That's the only, because we're not slowing down. You know what I mean? We're not slowing down. We're not gonna go backwards. We've come this far. We're gonna go further. So it's, you guys are gonna have to catch up. But what is important is to, as women, to be unified, to support each other, not to be catty, not to be gossipy, not to be vindictive, not to be jealous of each other. It's we just gotta we gotta teach, we gotta treat each other right as women, show these men how women should be treated. And you guys, like I said, man up.
Ah,
And
man,
with all love, with all love,
period.
I
Respectfully,
say that in love.
respectfully, respectfully, homies, man up.
Yeah, respectfully, man up. We don't want boys, we don't need men, we need champions. And so,
Oh,
you know what I mean, like,
I like
that's,
that. She said
yeah,
we don't need boys, we don't need men, we need champions.
yeah.
Wow. Wow. How do okay? She can't speak for me. I was going to ask you something else about men. But you can't speak for men. We spoke for women, and again, I think you're a great representation for women all the way around because women need empowerment too. Women need encouragement to want to not be afraid to be who they are because a lot of times,
Right,
like I just said, women are being empowered now, are being strong women. Sometimes not only do they intimidate men, but now they may feel, oh, I gotta dumb it down now because I'm doing too much, or nah, what I mean. I think what's going on with women right now is incredible. You know what I mean. I think it has to make men up, man up.
right, right. Right. I think so. I think so. I think so. And then that whole, there's no good man out there. I don't believe that. I don't believe that. We can't say that. good men out there, I just think that we focus on the bad. We're so quick to focus on the bad that we choose to not pay attention to the good that's out there. So we just got to be a little wiser too. You know what I mean? Just be a
Right.
little wiser. Notice those red flags and just and know some boundaries, because
Because
I feel
women will ignore them red flags on a minute. Everyone ignores red flags, and we know they're there, right? So
yes, yeah, I do it. I've done it. You know
everyone
what I
is
mean?
we're
I've
human.
done big neon red flag says run, 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 and I'm like, let me
Right.
see.
Let me just
You
see for
know,
myself. I know the red flags. They said this. Well, let
right?
me see for myself.
Let me see for myself, and then there you go. So we know better.
Right, right, right. But shout out to the good men out there, because it is good men out there.
There is
There's
good men
good
out
women out there too.
there.
And
Yes,
then there's a lot of broken men and women out there that
right,
they need some fixing. So don't never give up on love. Never give up on it.
right, exactly. Don't give up on love. Don't get bitter. Don't get bitter.
Right, right, right. It's hard sometimes, but
It
but
is hard. It is hard. Believe me. I almost did. Believe me. I was like, you know what? I'm done. This is it. But
right,
hey, I mean, I'm sure love's out there.
right. And sometimes you have to, like, maybe sit back and let it, like, sometimes we can't search for it or make it happen. Like, you got to let it do what it does. Like you said,
Right,
just focus on the goals, and like you just said, the things you need to do, and the other things will find you. Sometimes if you're doing what you need to do, um everything will work out, I think.
right.
God doesn't make mistakes.
That's what they say. Yeah, that's what they say. So,
Yeah, but I don't want to hold you. I know it's late. We've been there for a minute, but Sylvia, is there anything else that we did not speak about that you want to put out there, promote, or talk about that we missed? Maybe you missed, or we just you just want to put out there.
no, I mean, to promote, just honestly, promote out there is just love each other. Love each other. If you see people that look like they're down and out, look like they're having a hard day, homeless or not homeless, smile, connect with people, look at people in the eyes again, talk to your cashier, um, just connect with people again, love each other, you
Yeah,
know,
that's great. Yeah, don't be afraid to say hello to someone, or
right?
like it doesn't cost a thing, and it won't hurt anyone.
Right,
You know.
right. It's so funny because I was saying, like, I look at my granddaughter, and because she's a little girl, we can be in the middle of a huge courtyard full of people, and she can dance and sing, and so enjoy her day and show so much joy. No one questions it. But if an adult does that, all of a sudden mental health topics are brought up, or what's wrong with that person,
Right, right, right,
and it's just like, you know what? Yeah, maybe that's not something we see every day, but there should be nothing wrong with seeing someone dancing and singing, enjoying their afternoon,
right.
That shouldn't be something bad. So just love each other. That's all I gotta say.
Put love in the air, people. Any shout
And
outs or anything you want to give?
shout out to the Santa Ana team,
Yeah.
uh, Sylvia, Richard, Nikki, Ivan, Priscilla, Louis, Daniel, Angeles. Gosh, if I left you guys out, I'm so sorry. Kim, just everyone that comes out every Wednesday and gives so much of yourself. And not only on Wednesdays, but everything that's done behind the scenes. Other times when we go, we visit people at the hospital, we go to everything, anything that we need to be there for, we're there for, because that's what support is. So I just want to thank the whole team, Jacob, all of us. Just don't give up, keep doing what you're doing, because you guys are doing amazing things out there, and so I get the privilege to be a part of it, so I'm very happy.
And shout out to everyone in the comments. You getting so much love in the comments tonight. Everyone.
Yes, thank you everyone. I was so nervous and you guys made it
You did a
great. So
great job. You did a great job.
yes.
And you say every Wednesday. So can you put out there where you meet, or like for the people in Santa Ana, or people that may want
DM
to
me,
come
yeah.
and just help?
DM
Or
me.
okay, there you go.
Yeah, DM me. We do meet every Wednesdays. The location is more for the unhoused. But DM me if you want to come out and volunteer. I highly suggest it. It'll change your life. And I'm not just exaggerating. Come see what's being built in Santa Ana. It's beautiful.
That part. Everyone say you did amazing. Thank you, everyone. And this is once again Project Coffee Cup.
Yeah.
Or tell them where they can follow you and all that again, please.
Project Coffee Cup _ Santa Ana on Instagram, or Project Coffee Cup, and projectcoffeecup.org.
Yep. That part right there. Yeah, you did amazing. Shout out to
Thank you.
Sylvia Fuentes, Project Coffee Cup, Santa Ana, the LA chapter. Shout out to the homie Jacob and everyone who joined us tonight. Great interview, great conversation. Thank you so much. I learned a lot. And it opened me up more to a lot more things, you know. And again, I'm one who believes in, like, you I've been through a lot too, and now I just stand on love. You know what I mean? It's like,
Right.
don't cost a thing, and it's easy to give, and you
Right.
can get so much more from giving love and appreciate, like, just giving and helping and just being a genuine person. You can receive so much more great things than
Right.
doing the opposite and doing the BS and the scandalous stuff. You know,
Right.
it's so much easier to love and help people and give when you can. You will receive so much in the back end.
Right. You sure will. You sure will.
So thank you, Sylvia. I don't want to hold you again. Thank you so much for
Thank
joining
you.
us tonight on my platform. It was great. I enjoyed it. I'll be in touch, and I will be supporting. I'm gonna make a donation and do whatever I can just to help as well. And I will stay promoting
Thank
everything
you.
you do.
And I'm
So
gonna get you a cup. All right. I'm gonna
yeah,
get
I
you
need
a
a cup,
Project
please. I
Coffee
need a
Cup.
cup.
All right. Drink your
All right,
coffee every morning. I'm gonna get you a cup.
that part.
All
Thank you,
right.
Sylvia. Have a
Thank
great
you.
night and great weekend, and happy Mother's Day.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there too. And thank you so much.
Yep, that part right there. Thank you again. That is the homegirl Sylvia Fuentes, Project Coffee Cup. Go follow her, support whatever you can do, and stay tuned. Thank you everyone for joining us tonight. It was a great interview conversation. Shout out to my producer DD Hairston. Shout out to everyone in the chat. Shout out to our sponsor. Yeah, DD. Shout out to DD. Made it happen. Shout out to our sponsors. And we're out of here. Check us out tomorrow night. DD Hairston Conversations in the Hookah Lounge. And Sunday night, oldies rule forever. If you like oldies, Sylvia, we're here.
Yes. Who
We have a
doesn't?
great time. Okay, join us on Sunday nights. We're here same time. We have just a great time to play oldies, and everyone in the chat and the community, we just have a great time together. So if you can, join us.
All
Thank you.
right. Thank you.
All right, we're out of here, y'all. Peace.
Peace.